Manchester United at a very different phase of their development, and after sort of a couple of weeks of maybe small improvements, a little bit of encouragement, back down to earth very much with a bump of late for Manchester United. This is going to be straightforward, and he didn't even want to come in, Amorim, at this stage in the season. He wants to do the job when he's got a summer with a group of players and he's got time to bring in the players that he wants. But are we seeing any? We're definitely seeing changes, but are we seeing improvements?
Not really. Not really, but I think that unfortunately for him, you know, how much time he's actually getting with these players on the training ground to actually instill what he wants to instill in them so they can play in the way that he wants to play seems to be very tough to get that going at the moment, Kels. And we're talking about it being Manchester United, the global attention that they get, the patience that's going to be needed for Amorim, who, like you mentioned there, Tim, he didn't want to come in till the end of the season, but they said, no, come now. I think it's a good opportunity for him to be there now and see exactly what he needs to do. But then, how do you placate the Manchester United fans who want to see better performances and see them moving up the table? How do you placate them at the same time trying to find out players that you're going to try and get rid of that's going to cost a lot of money? This is a free 4-year job what Amorim's got. Definitely. I think it's vitally important that right now, especially when you look at Ineos, Kels, and the way they're moving, redundancies here, Christmas bonuses taken away here, doesn't sound like there's money around the place. So that's another worry for Man United fans.
We don't know what they're paying Dan Ashworth in his...
You know, again, you have to start looking at Ineos and the fact that everybody thinking, oh, the Glaziers, I'm not saying the Glaziers are any better, absolutely not, but he's come in and it seems a little bit chaotic. You've actually got sacked or got rid of the guy that's coming in to help you steer the ship after 5 months. And then you're looking on the football pitch with a manager that, for me, looks like he's more than capable of doing it. Now he's in a situation where I've got to try and get this steady before the end of the season, because then where's the money going to come from in the summer then, Kels? I really do worry for Amorim, but I do plead with United fans to have patience with Amorim.
Yeah, nothing's going to happen just yet. And I suppose the result against Manchester City, which is only a couple of weeks ago, that's what we heard Manchester United fans saying. Look, in the short term, we don't expect to be challenging necessarily for trophies straight away, but we at least want to be competitive in the big games. And their record over the past few seasons have been absolutely shocking in games that would have hurt Manchester United fans to lose. So to get that win, albeit with the City caveat in place, but even with that, it will have felt like a big win to do it the way they did against Manchester City.
I agree with you. The only thing is, I thought that would bring them a bit of momentum, and it hasn't at all. So we knew there would be highs and lows, and that people need to be patient. There's been more lows than highs, and that's why I'm a little bit disappointed by Amorim. The fact that the squad review that he started, which is okay for the first 2-3 weeks, maybe 4 or 5 games. Now it's almost 10 games, and he's still changing and tweaking. And let's try him here, but you can't keep trying people in different.
Yeah, but George, this is what I'm saying. It's almost as if he's doing his training games as the actual games.
I know, but Righty, by now surely he should know, don't you think? He should know what the best 11 is or looks like, or what they should do instead of changing all the time.
Well, you don't never know until they're on the stage, you know. So you need to put them in a competition. But I agree with you. I think there's too many changes, certainly to the back players, and your goalkeeper and the back players need to be the same. I can't believe he threw away the game again in the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup, because that's an opportunity to appease your fans, win a trophy, possibly, you know, to put that team out and that goalkeeper out in that game and to throw that game away. And they start coming back into that game when they put their main players on. Ahmad is the only one I would suggest who's done all right. The rest of them have been bang average, really bang average. They have to look at themselves. Obviously, he's looking at the individual players. That's why he's making so many changes. But Jason Wilcox will be doing exactly the same there as well. And Omar, they'll be looking. They'll be saying, look, yeah, perhaps they're not good enough. He's trying to give them a playing identity. He knows exactly how he wants to play, and it should make the recruitment a little bit easier. But try and get rid of the players they've already got on the money what they're on, and the inflated prices what they paid for these players. It's impossible to get rid of them without losing an awful lot of money.
Take a while.
So Ineos, you're going to have a serious problem with that, and then it tracks down to the manager. The manager will have a problem. I think he's getting away with it at the moment. I think he's been worse than we would expect, but I think he gets away with it because he's got a personality. He's got a personality with the media. He talks very well. He's winning the press conferences and losing the games. And sometimes it's more important to win the press conference, and he's doing that. He needs to start winning football matches because they will lose patience. The Man United fans, the biggest club in the world, they will lose patience with this man very quickly. I agree. Give him some time. He needs to have the time, but he can't lose. With respect, it wasn't Liverpool, it wasn't Chelsea, it wasn't Arsenal, it was Bournemouth. And we know how well Bournemouth are doing. You get beat 3-0 at home, at Old Trafford to Bournemouth. Not acceptable.
Not acceptable as things stand. And those 10 games have come up really quickly for Ruben Amorim, and Manchester United fans, as you say, will be hoping for more from him. Well, all of which means that, as we saw in the table earlier, Manchester City dropped down into 7th place. Are we ruling them out now of the title?
For sure.
Yeah.
You've been ruling them out for a little while, I think.
Yeah, I just don't think. I think when they've lost that amount of games and they've got a manager who's not used to this environment, he's inexperienced regarding losing football matches, which is a great place to be, but unfortunately he's not used to it. And the players go in every day and they look to the manager for a little bit of support. I think he's great when he's driving them on. They're winning every week, and he demands to keep winning. When he needs to pick them up after, they're shocked themselves. I've been in the squad for a long time. They won 4 on the spin. It's hard to be critical with this manager, but I don't think he's coping very well with the environment at the moment. Yeah,
it's not going well for Manchester City, and beaten well by Aston Villa at the weekend.
Yeah, but I think in the games that we've seen Man City losing, the opposing team, obviously City have lost that invincibility and that fright that you have when you see them. They've lost that. And I think that in all of the games that we've seen them lose, they probably deserve to lose them, the way they've been playing.
And do you know what was interesting, I think, about the Villa game was it wasn't a shock. It wasn't, up until
it was just average,
up until now, it's felt like even on that long run, without getting many victories, without just getting the one win, it still felt like a surprise every time. Up until now, really, I think people at the back of their minds have thought, it'll get better next week. It'll get better next week. Whereas I think the Villa game was like, it seems about right. Yeah,
I think they've just become an average team, really, which is sad to say for a team that has been so successful with great players who paid a lot of money. But Guardiola, Haaland, Foden are just becoming average players. And even the one game they won against Forest had 2 massive chances when they were 1-0 down. The game could have turned in very different ways. So I think they're lost. I think he's lost, Pep. I think he's lost all his own habits and bearings and what he knows where and what.
Je ne sais quoi.
Je ne sais quoi.
He's lost his je ne sais quoi.
If I was French, I would probably. I just think it's incredible to see them falling like that.
Jules, do you think throughout his career he's never been on a run like this, a loss like this? No. I don't think he's ever been in a dressing room, excuse me, where the players, as successful as they are going through this as well. Yeah. Who does he go to? What did he do?
Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche should get him out of it. He's experienced.
It's not the worst suggestion in the world because, and I know you're joking, but because their results are relegation form for Manchester City over the last few games.
If you look at the goals conceded, I think only Ipswich and Southampton are worse, and expected goals the same. He did a podcast in Spain the other day with a chef, and he said, I've got nobody. There's nobody I can talk to. He said, I wake up at night. Exactly. And for him, he's already a bit OCD, he's got that intensity within him about everything. I think he must be the worst ever.
Can you imagine what it's like for him?
I agree with Tim as well, is that players are looking for something from him. Yeah. And all they can see is him being in denial, because again on Saturday he says, I'm really proud of the performance of my players. No, you can't be, because you go well beaten again.
I wonder how much, we talk a lot about how, when managers give interviews, it's not for the media, it's not for the fans, it's for the players, it's a message for the players. But even for them, if you're in the dressing room and your manager is publicly saying, I thought we did well, does there come a point where even that starts, stops feeling like he's defending us and starts to feel...
but you as a player, you know when you're doing well, and they could see that Man City's run, no Manchester City player will be in that dressing room saying, oh, yeah, the boss is okay, so we're okay. They cannot be okay with what's going on. I think the manager, and a good manager, will always try and protect the players. Yeah. But at the same time, we're seeing a run of form no one saw coming. No. We were expecting, like you said, Jules, maybe a 3-4 game, then we know that City do their run. But they're going on a run that we've never seen before in respect to Man City. They're actually, what they used to do is go on a 11, 12, 30, 50, whatever game run. Now they're going on that kind of loss. Yeah. So, this is the time where everybody will be queuing up to play them. And then what else will happen with Pep now is that people start talking about the recruitment and what's gone on. and the lack of recruitment, the lack of maybe academy players getting a chance. That's maybe something as well, Kels, that he could think about, because, you know, you bring in because they've got some. We've seen the academy players that have left and done great stuff, so put them in. Because then what that does is that the fans will start getting behind you because they've got young players in the team from the academy that will give them that boost what they so desperately need Manchester City.
You'd imagine Guardiola, if he does have concerns about that, will be thinking, how can I put young developing players into a team that isn't performing well? And that might be the worry for him.
Yeah, but it can't get any worse. Man City, I don't think Man City will win the league this year.
No.
I think it's a great opportunity to people like O'Reilly and McAtee and Wright, those kind of players, maybe for them to feel what it's like at this moment, because it's a little bit of pressure. People will be looking at them, but they're at Man City, so you're going to have that anyway. And then see if they can help give this team some much-needed energy and
I think the
boosting.
start would be trying to put Kevin De Bruyne, who's one of your best players for a decade, on the pitch. That would be a start.
Is he playing at quite the levels that he has done, though?
It's difficult when you're not playing every week. You know, you need to play every week. I mean, Kevin and...
But it's a bit of a vicious circle, isn't it? Because when he's coming in, because he's not up to match fitness, he's not playing as well as we've seen him play in the past, so then he maybe doesn't get selected for the next game.
What I look at, Kel, is who he's putting in front of him. I mean, you can't put Nunes and De Bruyne in the same bracket. And when De Bruyne's on the pitch, you ask Erling Haaland who he wants on the pitch, and Erling Haaland's your goals.
Yeah, but Tim, the problem they've got is that the legs in the midfield. And this is what, you know, someone like De Bruyne, he'll give you the creativity, but you haven't got the legs to get him the ball, for him to then get someone like Haaland. It's all breaking down. But like, he believes he needs young legs in and around that midfield. I saw Nunes in there. Obviously, Kovacic has been there. Rico Lewis has been in around there.
Gundogan's legs.
Yeah, so when you look at that, I think that can be the only reason why he's doing that, because you've seen how easy it is to go through City.
Yeah, well, it's easy going through them when they have got legs in there. I mean, Rico Lewis, for me, is a jack of all trades, master of none. I mean, I think he's very lucky to be in a Man City shirt. But he's not the only one. I think you're right. Give him if you want to give the kids the opportunity, I don't think they can write this season off. I think there's a lot to play for. If they get the players back to fitness, who would really sit here and rule them out of not winning the Champions League?
Sure, and they will sign.
I mean, they're capable. They're capable of doing it.
There's a chance at the moment, actually. I think that they might not even. They will qualify through the playoffs, but there's a chance that they could be one of the two teams who miss out mathematically.
They used to not rested players who have to go for the Premier League. If they're right, he's right. They can't win the Premier League from here, so they can rest players for the Champions League and for the FA Cup. There's still big prizes to play for. What is really important for the Champions League? And they can't rely on winning it to be able to do that. So it's a juggling act for Pep. But my advice would be, you know, this is football management. Welcome to the world of football management. It's not all about winning.
This is what it's like for everyone else.
And you just need... The players come in and they look to the top. They look to the manager to help them out. And he needs to start helping them out now. And he needs to have a plan and just say, look, this is where we are. We're not going to write the season off. I just think that the plan is we go and win the Champions League. You're capable of doing it. You're capable of winning the FA Cup. And we need to have a strategy of moving forward and a little bit of luck, get some players back to fitness, get the big man scoring again, you know, and I wouldn't rule him out. I just think the man's a genius. He's been a genius for years and years. He's not been a bad manager overnight. He's just having a very difficult period dealing with adverse results.
I mean, look, this isn't a bad run of fixtures that they've got coming up now, Manchester City. That, you know, but then you look at them in the form that they're in, you start to go,
yeah, where can they win?
Yeah, there are potential upsets in there. You look at someone like Brentford when they're going to be playing them at Brentford, where up until this weekend they've been unbeaten.
You're probably, if you're any of those teams, you're looking forward to the Man City game.
Yeah,
because it's going to be high profile for you, and you might have a good chance of winning it. Obviously, I say that with all due respect to Salford as well, but it's the FA Cup.
And it's Salford, owned, of course, by former Manchester United players.
That's going to have its own jeopardy. But if you're a City fan at the moment, you would be worried. But if I'm fans of any of those teams, that's the team let's have a go at them. This could change our season or change it for us.
And I was just going to say, guys, because we talked about Jurgen Klopp a little bit earlier in the Liverpool chat. Klopp went through a bad season like that at Dortmund. His last season at Dortmund 10 years ago, before having a bit of time off and then coming to Liverpool, they were bottom of the table at Christmas. And he never managed to get them out of this bad run. So it was a bit different because they started badly and they kept doing badly. Whereas for City, they started well and then suddenly collapsed. So for us, it's more surprising. But Klopp, a bit like what Tim said about Pep, because he never really lost before, a bit at Mainz, but he never knew what to do, really. Yeah. And I think Pep is probably in a similar position.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's going to be fascinating to watch what happens, because the club really was built for Pep Guardiola, and now backroom staff have moved on. Guardiola's now in an unprecedented situation. The players are in an unprecedented situation. It feels like big changes are needed to try and turn that around. So it's going to be fascinating to watch that as the season.
The stats are fairly baffling, as they have been on the other side of the coin for Manchester City the entire time Pep Guardiola has been at the Etihad. 9 defeats in 12 is as many defeats as they suffered in the previous 112 matches. Now, Sean, look, your old club were going to win this title, for the rest of time. There was going to be a season where they didn't. But this has taken us all by surprise, how their form has fallen off a cliff. What do you put it down to? You're swapping over the Manchester misery.
No, but I don't know. I was saying to Dion before upstairs when we was all just chilling in the room, like I watch all the games for every team, but it's the first game I've seen them, like say against a Villa, that I would say Villa was actually the better team if you look over the 90 minutes. Don't get me wrong, City did have their stages where they control possession of the ball, because that's one thing you never see them not do. They did have a few chances that they didn't take until it was too late. But the way Villa played and overrun that midfield with the power of Onana, the vision and the cleverness of Tielemans and the brilliance from Rodgers, I think it was just too much for that midfield. And once you get past that midfield, and then it's the back four. Like, it's always going to be hard once they get turned and you've got runners going and you've got the quality to play those passes through. It's going to be hard. So as much as I'd say City didn't play that well, you have to give the credit to Villa and the way Emre had them set up to play against this Man City team. I thought they were fantastic.
Sean mentioned Morgan Rogers there, who has been in the Man City academy. Cole Palmer's a Manchester City player at the start of last season. There are plenty of Man City fans going, hang on a second, these are really good players playing for other people. And we sold them. But that's the way football goes. But your old club Villa and the job that Unai Emery is doing. I mean, they're doing very well in the Champions League as well.
Yeah, I just think it's just a nice match. They seem to work. I mean, I'm good friends with Ian Taylor. We both know Ian Taylor really well. He tells me that he knows all the staff's names. He knows all the training ground staff. And it's just the feeling of, we're in it together. Yeah. He's got a lot of respect for all his staff. And I think they all want to get on board with what the manager's doing, the players especially. You can see they're enjoying it. They all want to be on the ball. Tielemans has turned over a page. He's a new player to me. I mean, Rodgers, we've spoke about him, but... No,
speak more about Rodgers, because he is their best player. I think we can say he's their best player.
Yeah. Well, he's their best creative player, in my opinion. I mean, Tielemans here, to get time to turn and play that ball, and for Rodgers to have the knowledge and know when to pass the ball, the weight of the pass, it's simple for him. You made the similarity. I know you don't mean his Yaya Toure yet, but the way he carries the ball.
Well, like that, you mean? There were those little runs.
Yeah, he's the only person I've seen with that build carry the ball like that. And you see him, like, against Walks in the corner where he kind of just brushes him off. But
Walker.
Yeah, but he always knows where the ball is.
He's big, Rodgers, isn't he?
He's massive, and he's so strong. He doesn't, if you knock him, he doesn't try to get a foul. He sees that as, I've got the advantage now, and he tries to drive past you, and he's so creative and clever, and his vision and eye to see things, for me, it's a breath of fresh air to watch.
To that close. Good feet there, Dion.
Just great feet. What he does, he can get himself out of trouble with nice little intricate football as well, and if he's not going to go by somebody with the ball at his feet, he'll just bounce it off. He's so intelligent. I mean, look at the weight of that pass.
Right, the way he took it on the back foot at the start of the move as well.
The weight of that pass, because he's checked his shoulders.
And this one here, this is something that Yaya did when he kept the game by the scruff of the neck.
And look, he just opens
gets up to
the
ahead
whole
of steam.
play.
You cannot stop him then.
It's
There's a point at which you
impossible.
can't stop.
But he doesn't stop. He doesn't stop there. He knows there's more to be had. He knows that he can do more for the side. So he creates it, and then he gets in the box and he finishes it as well. He's enjoying his football. He's enjoying the manager. Looks good.
Nice hug with Pep at the end.
Nice of with Pep saying sorry,
Could have
mate.
played for you.
Sorry, mate.
So, okay, City aren't going to win the league. Can we say that?
It's not over until it's over.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I was listening to Murphy say something on TV before, and he said, "Look, if Liverpool get a few injuries, Mo Salah or Virgil, Liverpool's form and things could change for them.
Yeah.
Then it opens up, and we've seen City go on runs of winning 13 games in a row.
Yeah.
That changes everything. But where it stands right now, you would say." Yeah, they're not thinking about the title. They're out of it.
That's a sort of 5 and 5. Look at those fixtures, Dion. That's 5 and 5. What I mean now, the next 5, you go, if City were in anything like form, you go, OK, they'll reel off a few wins there. Then Chelsea, Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool, Tottenham.
Yeah, but you would say, if you're putting those fixtures on paper, you would say, City win, City win, City.
Yeah.
That's just what you would do.
But not this season.
And then, no, not this season. But then you say, well, Chelsea, even now, I'd put City favourite in those first 5 games.
Yeah.
Because of what City are capable of doing.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. And then you've got your Chelseas, your Tottenhams, which become a little bit more difficult. But those first 5, I say, they've got a chance of maximum points.
Yeah.
Because they can turn it around.
Absolutely. OK.
The situation is a huge story. Not involved in the squad again today for the home game against Bournemouth. Let's remind you what he did say in that interview earlier in the week. For me personally, I think I'm ready for a new challenge and the next steps. I know that a situation is already bad. I'm not going to make it worse. I've seen how other players have left in the past. I don't want to be that person. When I leave, I'll make a statement and it will be from me. Our understanding is the club didn't know he was going to do that interview and certainly not come out with those quotes. I mean, overall, if you were in the dressing room at the moment at United, is that unhelpful?
It's two things with him. So obviously, not being involved and in the way that he's not being involved has hurt him. And he's felt the need to react and put out a statement, which I think is really ill-advised. That was not the right thing to do. But he's done that now. He's made it clear that he's prepared to leave. I think on performances, I don't think many United fans will be too sad about that because it's a lot of money every week that you release and you can put into the pot and sign new players. He's a player that can get some money for him. He represents some value, and it's been made very clear that there isn't a lot of money in the pot in the first place. And I think it's important that there are being brought in new players in January, 1 or 2 players, just to freshen it up, just to add some more competition. We've seen what competition's done so far in the month that Ruben Amorim's been in. Players has actually performed better than they've done. So new players, and if you don't have any money, you have to sell players. And Marcus Rashford, he's made it a little bit easier for the club to sell him now.
I was obviously disappointed when I saw the statement. Listen, I love Marcus, and he was the one. When I got back into the England squad, he was the one that I looked at and I thought, this kid's got everything. And I'm talking about when Dele Alli, Raheem Sterling, and I thought, God, he's got everything. He can run, he's quick, he can score goals, he's got everything. But then you see the statement and you talk about who's advised him to do that, and you would like to think that he's got the right people around him. I don't think it's fair that people obviously talk about the clothes that he wears and all that sort of stuff. But I do feel like when you're playing well, it doesn't matter. Because there's been so much noise around him. But to do that, he scored 30 goals. So that's sort of like the level. When you set those sort of standards, people, they expect you, Mo knows, when you score goals, people expect you to reach those levels all the time. But if you can't reach those levels, you need to try and get near. But he just doesn't look happy. You look at his body language, his demeanour. It does look happy. Obviously, when a new manager comes in, he scored against Ipswich, he scored 2 goals against Everton, and you think, OK then, maybe he can kick on now. But it's just not happened.
Yeah, and that 30 goals was 2 seasons ago. However, I get what Peter's saying from a business point of view. It isn't always that simple in the football business world, is it?
To get people out? No, it's not. Absolutely not. And I look and think about, right, OK, and I agree with Peter, but I'm not sure when you say, he's got a value. Of course he's got a value, but who would take him? Who would take him? I used to think someone like Paris Saint-Germain. But really?
Their model's gone a different way now, younger players.
Exactly. Who would he himself is going to have a lot of confidence. I'm not going to them and them and them. He'll be thinking, no, I want to play. If I was a top club, I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't buy Marcus Rashford. He's done it once in all his years as a professional. Done it in terms of justifying the wage he's on. That's £350,000 a week or whatever's reported. You want to be paying that for somebody that's scoring 25, 30 goals, and he's done that once in his career. He's getting to an age now where he's not young anymore. It's not going to be somebody, no one's going to be buying him to think, oh yeah, this is an asset for the future. He's 27. So whoever signs him a 3 or 4 year contract, then he's into his 30s. He's not an asset. So I don't know who would take him. The good thing for Manchester United, it cost them nothing. So, you're not stomaching a huge loss there.
Cost them a lot, though, to pay him, isn't it?
But they're costing them a lot, and you need to get that off your wage bill if that's the case. The interesting thing in all of this is the way that Manchester United are playing it. Amorim came out and said, we're a better team with Marcus Rashford in it. And he was praising him and he was saying he's still got a future and all this. But his actions say something else. And I just wonder whether, if he goes the other way and says, no, he's not part of my plans, then he almost pins himself, doesn't he? It's almost like, where can we go here? Yeah. With him saying that, if nobody comes in over the Christmas period, then at least he's left himself an olive branch to say, I always said that and here's a way back in. But if he goes all out and says, no, I don't fancy him, he's going to leave, then straight away, Manchester United have, got an asset that's diminished just through Amorim's
What if he
words.
isn't? I mean, I see that play. That makes a lot of sense. But what if he isn't in his plans? What if he's already...
Well, I don't think he is.
What if he already decided that this is not going to work? Will someone like him just sit on his money for 3.5 years? He's got 3.5 years left. See, I don't see that.
A long time.
I see that. Why would you do that?
But shorter term,
So,
what we're saying is in January, it's difficult to trade, isn't it? If you're trying to get Marcus Rashford to a club in January on that kind of wages, it's difficult to trade.
Yeah, I get that.
He'll do well to
the
get half of his
situation will be
wage.
the same in the summer. The principles of it will be the same in the summer. It won't make a difference to a buying club. You mentioned PSG. They are going in a different direction. It's not working very well for them in Europe, so they might just change again. So it might just be on the card. They might, because he was not available to them before, but it could be a club like that.
But I just feel like we know what players are like nowadays. Mo, you spoke about he'll be lucky to get half his wages. Players now, they're not moving. You spoke about, are they willing to just stay and just sit on the wages? I think they are.
Would you think he would?
Do you think Marcus would, though? Because, he's the local boy, and is it reached a point where it's just better for him and the club if they...
I would like to think so. I'd like to think that he's probably thinking, you know what, now I just want to go out and play football. It's not about the money. I've earned decent money, which all players do now. I'd like to think that he's probably thinking, listen, I need to go out and play football. And even and even think that, I've got something to prove now. Go out somewhere, just play football, score goals and get back to those sort of levels that we know we can reach.
See, this is what annoys me, right? If you can say that I've got something to prove now, and then you go out and do it, that I do not understand. If you have the talent, he's been knocked back. His confidence has been knocked back. He's still, we know because he's done that in the past. We know he can do it. Settle, do something different. Change your mind. Try and see if you can make it again. We saw as soon as Erik ten Hag left. When Ruud had the team, for 4 games, they played really well. Scored a lot of goals. Why does it need a manager to be sacked for the team to play well? Why do you need to go somewhere else to get a new challenge? Why is that challenge not to change your ways and get back to what we saw 2 years ago? That could be a challenge for him, and he would still make the money. If he's got the manager's word now.
Talking of the manager, Michael, we talked about the Ronaldo challenge Ten Hag had very early on. This is a huge situation for Ruben Amorim to deal with, whilst he's still finding out the club, the players, the system, and trying to get results.
Yeah, I think he's made his mind up, and I think he's made his mind up quite quickly. And I don't disagree with his decision if that's what it is. I do agree with Peter. I absolutely love, every time I listen to him, I'm like, yeah, this guy is the real deal. I love what he says. I love what he's trying to do. It won't happen in a short space of time, but I do think that Manchester United have got the right man. And I actually love the way he's playing this as well. And I think he wants him out. but he's saying the right things just in case he has to keep him. But just quickly going back to what the guys say, yeah, it's all in an ideal world. We all know what is the right thing. It's the right thing for Mark, it's the right thing for Manchester United, it's the right thing for everybody probably now for him to go. But the money he is on is astronomical, and forget half, he'll do well to get a third of that somewhere else. And when that offer comes in and it's a third of the money he's on, and he's like, I'm 27, do you know what? I think he might do what Jermaine says. There is a massive, massive argument in the Rashford household to think, well, I'm not moving him. I'm only getting a third of the money, and he's guaranteed that for a long period of time. So it's a massive call. It'll be fascinating to see how it plays out.
Sounds like you're giving us some insight, having been in that situation.
Not never. I wish. I wish.
Well, there was reports when you were playing, and I knew that you were the highest paid player in the Premier League, but I couldn't possibly comment.